My daughter collapsed from pollen allergies while making a birthday wreath for her husband and was rushed to the hospital by ambulance. She asked where her father was. Listening to the automated message on the phone that no one answered, I lied to her and said Dad was at work. The very next second, I scrolled past my husband's secretary's Facebook post. The CEO says he'll give our little princess the very best the world has to offer. In the photo, my husband is dotingly holding his secretary's daughter. Yet he casually tramples the flower crown my daughter made with such care underfoot. Without a single tear or word of protest, I tossed the crown into the trash bin, took my daughter, and left the country to divorce him. On New Year's Eve, my husband frantically searched through the entire dumpster, calling me 99 times with a trembling voice. "Luna, where did you throw the flower crown our daughter made for me?" My daughter opened her eyes and the first thing she said was, "Mommy, where's Daddy?" I immediately called my husband Henry, only to hear his cold voice. "Paige is awake, that's good. I'm still at work. You stay at the hospital and take care of Paige." He sent me another photo of himself working in his study. "You're working so hard. I'll come to the hospital to relieve you as soon as I finish up." Before I could respond, he hung up the phone impatiently. My heart grew cold. When I called back, all I got was the automated message of an unanswered line. He had silenced his phone. Meeting my daughter's hopeful gaze, my heart ached, yet I forced a smile. "Daddy's very busy. Would you like Mommy to play with Paige?" Paige was in a hurry to get home and make a wreath for Henry, so I had no choice but to discharge her. At the entrance to the residential complex, I spotted Henry crouched down below from a distance, kissing a stranger's cheek while his secretary Molly bent over to take photos. They looked just like a family of three. Henry opened the car door and urged, "Hurry up. After the amusement park, I still need to take care of Paige." The little girl bounced up and down, "Okay, Daddy." Henry's eyes were fixed entirely on the mother and daughter, never once noticing me and my daughter. After they left, my daughter's eyes were red. "Mommy, is Daddy busy keeping the little sister company?" I didn't know how to answer, so I just held her close, quietly wiping away my tears. Upon returning home, my daughter immediately spotted the wreath she'd carefully crafted lying carelessly on the floor, trampled flat. "My wreath," she exclaimed, rushing over to pick it up, tears welling up in her eyes. "This was supposed to be my New Year's gift for Dad. Since it's ruined, I don't want it anymore." I took the wreath from my daughter's hands and tossed it into the trash. I couldn't even bring myself to tell her that the one who ruined the wreath was none other than her beloved dad. Just then, Molly sent me a video. In it, Henry had one arm around Molly's waist and was holding their daughter Nina in the other. "I should head to the hospital. If I'm any later, Luna will start worrying." Molly flashed a seductive smile. "Today's Nina's birthday, and I've got something special planned for you." She slipped Henry's hand beneath her skirt. "Who's more important, Paige, or your little maid?" The video abruptly ended. At the same time, Henry sent a message. "Honey, I won't make it to the hospital today. Bear with me, I'll cancel all my work tomorrow and focus solely on being with you and Paige." I gave a wry smile and didn't reply. He always pretended to be so deeply devoted. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes 3 months ago, I'd probably still believe he was truly devoted to me. That night, Henry worked overtime until midnight. Feeling sorry for his exhausting workload, I prepared a late-night snack and planned to sneak it to his office as a surprise. But when I went to the garage to get the car, I discovered him having a car sex session with his bunny costume secretary. Luna ended up with a belly full of stretch marks after having Paige. "It's disgusting. You're the one who takes good care of yourself." In that instant, my heart felt as though it had been pierced by a sharp blade, leaving it raw and bleeding. I've considered divorce, but our daughter is still so young. I can only pretend not to know, letting Henry spend more time with her, hoping he'll return to our family for her sake. Yet he complains that our daughter takes away from his time with Nina, repeatedly abandoning both me and our daughter. This time, I won't let my heart soften. At 4 in the morning, Henry finally came home. Seeing me sitting in the living room, panic flashed in his eyes. "Why did you suddenly come home? How is Paige feeling?" He walked over and took my hand as usual. I saw the lipstick stain on his collarbone hadn't even dried yet, obviously fresh off Molly's bed. A wave of nausea washed over me, and I pulled away from his intimacy. He frowned, about to ask something, when his phone rang. I instinctively glanced at the screen. The caller ID showed little imp Molly. I knew he was leaving again. Sure enough, he kissed my forehead tenderly and left with a parting remark. "You've worked hard taking care of Paige today. Get some rest. I still have to head to the office, so I won't disturb you any longer." The next day, I booked my international flight and went to the kindergarten to arrange my daughter's transfer. Then, clutching the divorce agreement, I headed to Foo Group. As I pushed open the door, I saw Henry crawling around on the floor with Nina perched on his neck, giggling away. I remembered I needed to go take care of some paperwork, so I thought about dropping my daughter off at the office for the afternoon. Henry refused without hesitation. "Paige is too young. She'll distract me from my work. Can't you just take her with you?" But now it seems he wasn't worried about affecting his work, he just didn't care much for his daughter. Henry spotted me and quickly set Nina down on the floor. Nervously explaining, "This is an employee's child. She wandered into my office on her own. Oh, by the way, why didn't you bring me breakfast?" "I forgot. I'm here to get you to sign the divorce papers." Just then, Nina started wailing, "I'm so hungry. I want to eat." "Bad auntie." Henry quickly pulled her into his arms to comfort her, snatched the contract from my hand, signed it without even glancing at it, and then hurried to order takeout. Not wanting to be the villain who disrupted their father-daughter moment, I tucked away the divorce agreement and prepared to leave. Henry suddenly called out to me, "What did you just sign for me?" Turns out he hadn't even bothered to listen to what I said. Since that was the case, there was no need for him to know. I lied without batting an eye, "The purchase contract." He let out a sigh of relief, then smiled gently, "From now on, just handle these little things however you see fit. After all, my paycheck is already in your hands, isn't it? Don't leave yet. There's an annual meeting this afternoon. Let's attend it together." The annual gala was about to begin when Molly burst through the door. She wore a white evening gown that perfectly complemented Henry's black suit. Spotting me, Molly gasped and covered her mouth. "Miss Luna, it's the gala tonight. How could you show up dressed like this? You're embarrassing Henry." Henry never told me about tonight's annual party. If I hadn't happened to run into him while seeking his signature on the divorce papers, he'd probably have brazenly made me his date. Henry shot her a warning glare before offering me half-hearted reassurance. "Don't listen to her nonsense, my wife looks stunning in anything." At the underground garage, Henry drove us to the hotel. Molly shoved Nina into my arms and beat me to the passenger seat. "Miss Luna, I get carsick. Henry always makes me sit up front. Could you please hold the baby for me?" I didn't argue, just pulled open the car door and slid into the back seat. I watched them flirt and bicker calmly. At the hotel entrance, Molly hooked her arm through Henry's as they walked toward the center of the lobby. In contrast, dressed in casual clothes and holding my child, I trailed behind them like a nanny. Just then, a hotel attendant jogged up to Henry, her face brimming with admiration. I'd heard the lady was famously kind-hearted, but I never imagined she'd be so young and beautiful. My heart feels bitter. I truly am a good wife. We don't have a nanny. I wake up at 5 to tend to the villa, care for the children, and manage Henry's daily needs. I'm so busy I don't even have time to put on makeup. How could I possibly stay young and beautiful? Misunderstood, Henry instinctively glanced at me but made no denial. Suddenly, I felt utterly ridiculous. I'd become a haggard housewife for his sake, yet he still found me unpresentable? I lowered my eyes, choosing not to call him out. Only then did Henry breathe a sigh of relief. After the waiter left, he hurried over to me and nervously explained. "I'm sorry, honey. I just didn't react in time. There's nothing between me and Molly." You know I love you the most. I gave a faint nod, set Nina down on the floor, and didn't look back at him. Bring the food. Don't starve your staff. At the dinner table, Henry kept peeling shrimp for Molly and Nina. Nina whined, I'm full, Daddy. Nina's tummy is going to turn into a watermelon. The moment she called him Daddy, the entire private room fell silent. But I remained perfectly composed as I sipped my porridge. Seeing my nonchalant demeanor, Henry grew flustered and offered the shrimp in his hand to my lips in an attempt to appease me. Open wide, darling. Let your husband feed you. My heart sank. Don't you know I'm allergic to shrimp? Henry's face turned pale. Just then, Paige's voice rang out. Mommy and Daddy. I quickly got up and hugged Paige. How did you get here? I missed Daddy, so I asked the neighbor lady to bring me over. As she spoke, she climbed onto Henry's lap. Daddy, I made you a New Year's wreath. Suddenly, an employee said, Miss Paige, please don't bother Henry, he's very tired. He's a veteran employee who joined Henry's startup from the beginning, and his words reflect Henry's stance. Henry could spend an entire day playing with Nina without tiring, yet he grew exhausted after just one sentence from Paige. Paige pouted, but my little sister gets Daddy to play with her too. The employee retorted without hesitation, you're not like Nina, she's Henry's designated successor. He suddenly realized his mistake and quickly shut up. The entire table was too stunned to speak after what just happened, and I was thoroughly bored. Henry, I'm taking Paige home. Alright, I'll hail you a cab. Henry grabbed my phone as if afraid I'd change my mind. But he quickly frowned, why did you change your phone password? My previous password was our wedding anniversary, but now that we're getting divorced, that password no longer serves any purpose. I couldn't be bothered to answer. Grabbing her phone, I unlocked it with my fingerprint, hailed a ride, and took Paige home. Once in the car, I looked at her seriously and asked, Paige, do you want to leave your dad? Her eyes were red, and she nodded silently. Late at night, Henry finally came home. He couldn't wait to pull me close, reeking of alcohol and Molly's perfume. Honey, after you left, your husband thought about you all night long. At the annual party, they were just messing around. I swear, you and Paige are the only ones in my heart. But why can't you cut me some slack? You just stormed off like that, how embarrassing was that for me? By the end, his tone even carried a hint of resentment. I stated with certainty, Nina must be your daughter with Molly. Though he'd been lying all along, Nina's eyes and brow were so much like his that one glance was enough to tell they were father and daughter. He grew increasingly angry and humiliated. Fueled by alcohol, he blurted out, so what? I love you. I wouldn't care if you had stretch marks all over your body. But I'm just having a child with her, why are you making such a fuss? I was trembling all over, about to speak, when Henry's phone rang. Dad, Mom says she's pregnant again. Nina's going to have a little brother. Come see the baby boy. Hearing this shocking news, Henry sobered up instantly. He abruptly ended the call and looked at me frantically. Baby, I only saw Molly as a toy. I never wanted to have a child with her. His expression twisted in anguish. I'll go check on her. Don't be angry. I'm the one who's wronged you. I gave a faint smile. It's fine. Let's go check on Molly first. He rubbed his temples wearily, then kissed my forehead tenderly. You're such a saint. Once she delivers this baby, I'll have her take the money and leave. Then I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you and Paige. Under his expectant gaze, I slowly nodded. Only then did he leave with a sense of relief. The very next moment, I placed the divorce papers on the coffee table, woke Paige from her deep sleep, grabbed the suitcase I'd packed long ago, and hailed a cab to the airport. At that moment, Henry sent a flurry of messages. Honey, I'd booked our flights to Ireland. Let's spend the holidays there as a family of 3. I'll wear the wreath Paige made with her own hands. You love taking pictures, right? Let's snap a bunch of photos, I want the whole world to know I have the most amazing wife and the cutest daughter. I shattered his illusions without mercy. Let's get a divorce, Paige, and I won't be spending Christmas with you. If he cared about Paige at all, he would have noticed the wreath was gone long ago. But his heart and eyes were filled with Molly and Nina. Given that, I chose to step back from offering blessings. Then I turned off my phone and boarded the flight abroad with Paige. After getting off the plane, I turned on my phone to book a hotel online. The next second, it started vibrating like crazy. Henry was freaking out, sending me 99+ messages asking where Paige and I were. I was about to delete him outright when Paige came to mind. Children are always a mother's greatest weakness. I bent down. Paige, do you miss Daddy? Paige shook her head slowly and firmly. Daddy doesn't want me, so I don't want Daddy either. I laughed, blocked Henry, and checked into the hotel. Then I went online to browse job listings. After 7 years of marriage, I'd poured my whole heart into my family and had long since lost touch with the job market. Finding a good job wouldn't be easy. Just then, my phone rang again. Though it was an unfamiliar number, I knew exactly who it was. I answered, and Henry's anxious voice came through. Where are you and Paige? I'll come pick you up. I really don't have any feelings for Molly. If you don't like her, I'll get rid of her right now. Give me one more chance, I truly don't want to lose you both. He pleaded desperately, but I didn't soften in the slightest. I'm a determined person. When I loved him, I devoted myself entirely to caring for him for 7 years. Now I truly want to leave. It's no use, Henry. Paige and I are abroad now. You won't find us. Sign the divorce papers on the table right now. Paige stays with me. I won't take a single penny. Let's part ways amicably. Impossible. Henry refused without hesitation, his voice trembling. Honey, I truly made a mistake. Stop playing hard to get. From now on, I'll only love you and keep my distance from every other woman around me. Come back, Luna. I'm not going back. I couldn't be bothered to say another word to him. His voice was pitiful. Christmas is coming soon, do you have to be so unreasonable? At least think of Paige. She loves me so much, she even made me a New Year's wreath with her own hands. Just let her put it on me herself. My heart ached as I softly told him the truth, there's no wreath anymore. The day you took Nina to the playground, I threw it away. Without waiting for Henry's reaction, I hung up the phone. That evening, I received a reply email from the company confirming my position as a sales associate at the shopping mall. Having left my failed marriage behind, I poured all my passion into my work. On my very first day of the probationary period, I closed a major deal and was promoted ahead of schedule. Soon it was time. I took leave early from work and took my daughter to Chinatown for dumplings. In past Christmases, I'd be busy in the kitchen all day while Henry lay on the couch chatting with Molly. Now I can finally savor the holiday spirit. I poured myself some red wine, unscrewed the cap on my daughter's juice box, and said with a smile, here's to Mom and Paige starting a new chapter, cheers. Suddenly, a friend back home sent me a video. In it, Molly brought Nina to the office to deliver dumplings to Henry. She wore a tight-fitting skirt, practically pressed against Henry, her intentions clear. Henry, let me spend New Year's Eve with you tonight. I felt nothing inside. Without me standing in his way, he should be free to pursue young, pretty girls without hesitation. But to my surprise, Henry pushed Molly away without a second thought. Didn't I tell you to leave? Get out now. From now on, I'll send you money every month, but we must never meet again. Molly shed tears of hurt. Henry, Luna can leave if she wants. Haven't you always told me you've been sick of her? I'm carrying your son inside me. Can't you forget about her and just live a good life with me? Shut up. Henry glared at her with disgust. You're not even worth a single hair on my wife's head. You only got pregnant because you put that ring on yourself, didn't you? Molly, you'd better watch your step. With that, he stood up and slammed the door behind him. It seems their relationship hasn't been smooth sailing. Yet before my divorce, they were so devoted to each other. After exchanging a few pleasantries with a friend, I switched my phone to silent, set it aside, and focused on eating with my daughter. After finishing my meal, I unlocked my phone. To my surprise, I found 99 plus missed calls, all from Henry, in just the past hour. Considering the time difference, it must be the middle of the night back home. Why would Henry be so free? Could it really be urgent? Frowning, I dialed him back. He answered almost instantly but hesitated to speak. My patience wore thin. What's up? If you don't say it, I'm hanging up. Only then did he speak, his voice trembling. Where'd you throw the wreath Paige made for me? The neighborhood trash bins, I said, suddenly feeling a bad premonition. I turned on the TV and saw that the headline "Food Group President Dives Through Landfill on Christmas Eve" had already shot to the top of the trending topics. In the video, Henry kneels on the ground, not the least bit afraid of getting dirty, his eyes bloodshot as he rummages through trash with his hands. It's hard to imagine this is the Henry who once ruled City A with an iron fist. Is that so? Then why can't I find it? I'm afraid I lost the wreath Paige made, and lost you and Paige too. I pressed my lips together. By now, I couldn't muster even a shred of pity for him. What's the big deal about rummaging through a landfill? Those who betray true feelings deserve to swallow 10,000 steel needles. My voice was cold. It's been 7 or 8 days. That day's trash has probably been processed long ago. Oh, right. Hurry up and sign the divorce agreement. Impossible. He reacted fiercely. I can't let Paige lose her father. There are so many men keeping mistresses. I've been good enough to you, why can't you just endure it? Do it for the child. I let out a cold laugh. It's all garbage. What's the point of sorting it? Who's recyclable and who's not? Don't use the kids as an excuse. Before I left, I never saw you show Paige much fatherly love either. You're a father who's completely dispensable. He fell silent, unable to utter a single word of defense, and finally hung up the phone. To celebrate my early promotion, my coworkers in the same group egged me on to treat them to a meal. Once we got to the restaurant, they kept urging me to drink glass after glass. Team leader Michael swapped the wine in front of me for juice. Just a token gesture, sis. You've got kids to take care of when you get home, right, sis? In his early 20s, he was handsome and charming, with exceptional work skills, the dream guy of every young woman in the company. Yet he always went out of his way to look after me. I could guess what the young man meant, but as a recently divorced woman, I simply couldn't bring myself to venture into the abyss of love again. My colleagues giggled suggestively. If Miss Luna gets drunk, wouldn't you be able to take her home and watch her kids? Only then did I realize their true purpose was to set me up with Michael. I was both amused and exasperated, but accidentally choked on my drink. Are you okay? Are you okay? Michael was terribly worried, immediately grabbing a tissue to wipe my mouth. The moment our eyes met, his face flushed bright red. Suddenly, a furious roar erupted. Luna, what the hell are you doing? I instinctively whipped my head around. It was Henry and Molly. Henry lunged forward, his fist swinging viciously at Michael. Who the hell gave you permission to hit on my wife? My colleagues sensed something was wrong and tactfully excused themselves. Terrified, I rushed over to examine the wound on Michael's face. Does it hurt? I asked softly, filled with guilt. He didn't answer, just stared at me intently with reddened eyes, like a pitiful little puppy. Sister, are you married? I pressed my lips together, unsure how to respond, and turned to Henry. Enough. Do you think everyone is as shameless as you? Michael is just my boss. Did you even consider my feelings when you pulled this stunt? Then come home with me. Henry gripped my wrist tightly in a commanding tone, trying to pull me toward him. Work is so exhausting. Isn't it better for your husband to support you? I won't let you work yourself to the bone. I shoved him away forcefully, my eyes brimming with undisguised scorn. You've left all your assets to Nina. If I don't work, what are Paige and I supposed to eat and drink? At that moment, Molly approached me carrying a thermos. Miss Luna, this is food Henry personally made for you and Paige. He's a grown man working so hard out there. As his little woman, you should be considerate. Stop sulking and go back to the country with him. I opened the insulated box, it was shrimp. Even though I reminded him on the day of the annual meeting, he still forgot. Or rather, he never took me seriously. I felt utterly exhausted in that instant, so I grabbed the thermos and dumped the entire contents, food and soup, over Molly's head. She screamed, though the meal wasn't even that hot anymore. Still, she acted as if scalding water had poured over her. Henry, help me. Miss Luna is trying to kill me. Then you just deal with it. Henry didn't spare her a single glance. Instead, he walked over to me, took my hand in his, and examined it closely. Did you get burned? Are you tired? I shoved him hard. Henry, you don't need to do this. I've already decided to divorce you. But he seemed not to hear me, continuing to talk to himself. Haven't you vented enough? Then slap Molly a few more times, she was the one who seduced me. Henry. Molly stared at her in disbelief. She couldn't believe that the man who had promised to cherish her for life just days ago in bed could be so heartless. Miss Luna, you may strike me if it helps you vent your anger. Henry pleaded humbly, dropping to his knees with a thud and beginning to slap himself across the face. Listening to the sharp smacking sounds, I felt nothing but irritation. Michael spoke up then, can't you understand Miss Luna's words? What's the point of clinging on like this? Henry flew into a rage, our marital affairs don't need a third party like you to butt in. Before he could finish speaking, his daughter walked in. While we were dining, he'd been sleeping in the next private room, the noise from this side must have woken him. Rubbing her eyes, she said, Mommy, I'm scared. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. Michael immediately pushed Henry's words from his mind, rushing over to pick up his daughter. Uncle's here. Paige, would you like to eat something? Uncle will stay with you the whole time. Seeing this, Henry stopped mid-sentence. He suddenly recalled how Paige had burst in during the annual meeting, and how impatient he'd been with her. It turned out he really had been wrong, truly, for Molly and Nina, he'd neglected his own beloved wife and daughter. Henry's eyes reddened as he choked out, Paige, Daddy's right here. Let Daddy give you a hug, okay? Paige, who had been engrossed in playing with Michael, finally noticed Henry. She glanced at Molly beside her, then slowly shook her head. Daddy, go play with the little sister. I already have Uncle Michael. In that moment, Henry felt a pain sharper than 1,000 arrows piercing his heart. Yet he still tried to hold on to us. Honey, we've been married for 8 years, was all that love fake? You loved me so much. Give me one more chance. I swear I'll make it up to you and Paige. I was momentarily lost in thought. Yes, we'd been married for 8 years. But to him, 8 years of love couldn't hold a candle to a few ounces of meat right in front of him. If that's the case, what right does he have to demand that I care about those 8 years? I couldn't be bothered with small talk anymore. Hooking my arm through Michael's, I walked past him and said earnestly, Henry, I truly loved you deeply before. But you shattered that love with your own hands. With that, I walked out of the hotel without looking back. Henry seemed to have lost all his strength, leaning against the wall without coming out to chase after them. Molly stepped forward to support him. Henry, let's go back first. His eyes blazed red as he lashed out, slapping Molly hard across the face and knocking her to the floor. It's all your fault. If you hadn't sent that message to provoke Luna, she never would have divorced me. Molly's face quickly swelled up as she wept bitterly, trying to make excuses. No, Henry, you've misunderstood me. Henry sneered. You think I don't know about your little schemes? I just never bothered to confront you before. Now you've torn my family apart, are you satisfied? Molly clutched his hand tightly. Don't be mad at me, Henry. Nina just called saying she has a headache. Let's go back home. I was just trying to play a little joke on Miss Luna, but I didn't expect her to be so petty. When Henry heard Molly slandering me, a storm of fury swept across his eyes. He shoved her violently to the ground, then kicked her away. Headache? He snarled. Like I'd ever believe your bullshit again. Without looking back, he stormed out of the hotel. The crowd gathered around watched the entire scene unfold. Of course, they knew Molly was the other woman, and one by one, they pointed and gawked, enjoying the spectacle. They left the hotel. I apologized to Michael with a guilty look. Sorry about that, my personal stuff got in the way. Let me take Paige. She's pretty heavy. But he ignored me, clutching Paige tightly as he placed her in the back seat of his car. Left with no choice, I climbed into the passenger seat. Michael's voice was muffled. Why didn't I meet you sooner? Sis, I really love you. Can I be your boyfriend overseas? I remained silent. I was 10 years older than Michael and had a child, we weren't compatible. Besides, Henry still hadn't signed the divorce papers. I simply couldn't bring myself to be as disgusting as him, keeping a mistress. Seeing I wasn't speaking, Michael turned his attention to my daughter. He pulled out a piece of candy to coax her. Paige, would you like Uncle Michael to be your daddy? My daughter, who's always been clever, now smiles and coaxes me. Mommy, I really like Uncle Michael. I want him to be my daddy. When it comes to my daughter, I just can't bring myself to say anything harsh. Let's wait until Mom finishes handling things back home. Oh wow, Mom's going to marry Uncle Michael soon. My daughter clapped her hands happily. Michael smiled too, gazing at me tenderly. Luna. It was the first time he hadn't called me sister, and my heart raced. He placed a kiss on my forehead. I'll wait for you forever. I'll always be by your side. Michael gave me a few days off. So the next day, I slept in with my daughter until noon. When I woke up, I found Molly had called me multiple times. I sent my daughter away and called her back. Molly, what's up? Molly's voice was thick with resentment. Last night, Henry did it for you. He's confiscated all my assets and blacklisted me across the city. Now I'm left with Nina, wandering the streets. I just found it utterly baffling. I've been living so well abroad and let go of the past long ago. It's them who keep dragging it up. I said coldly, I have no interest in your affairs. You don't need to rub your existence in my face. Then I hung up. Just then, a knock sounded at the door. My daughter immediately ran to open it, exclaiming with delight, Mom, Uncle Michael's here. Before I could react, Michael was already entering the kitchen, carrying bags and packages. I bought the ingredients. Don't you all love making dumplings with your family? I've got the ingredients ready, let me help you make them. I agreed. Unlike previous years when it took me all day, with Michael's help this time, I finished making them in just 2 hours. After the dumplings were cooked, Michael tasted one and gave a thumbs up. I often go to Chinatown for dumplings too, but your sisters are different, they have a wife's touch. I chuckled. Nonsense. Suddenly, my phone rang. My daughter ran over holding it. Mom, it's Dad calling on video. I hesitated, but answered anyway. The background showed a hospital setting. Henry lay in the hospital bed, looking haggard. Luna, I drank too much and ended up in the hospital with a stomach hemorrhage. My heart remained unmoved as I replied flatly, drink less next time. He gave a bitter laugh. Give the phone to Paige. Daddy. Her voice was soft, yet Henry could clearly sense the intimacy that had once existed between them. Do you like Uncle Michael? Yes, I do. After I got home last night, I made a wreath for Uncle Michael too. Mom took a picture of it and sent it to him. He said he'd treasure it forever. But Dad just throws the wreath on the ground. Henry's eyes welled up. Perhaps afraid of crying in front of his daughter, he quickly ended the video call. Several minutes later, he sent me a message. I've already signed the divorce agreement. I'll return to the country in a few days to finalize the formalities. Luna, if he dares to mistreat you or Paige, I'll come and take you to my side immediately. I've scheduled the divorce certificate appointment with him and turned off my phone. Michael couldn't wait to hug me. Sis, can I be your boyfriend? Mommy, please say yes to Uncle. I want to be a little girl with a daddy. Under my daughter's hopeful gaze, I smiled and nodded.